Where's my shirt, Marty?
Please forgive
I'm a large, by the way.
me.
I'm a large.
And in charge.
Okay, you done? Please post that.
Welcome to the show, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
my gosh.
I am on fire
today.
today.
Yeah, well, you're on something.
I've had, let's not talk about it. I didn't get any gummies today, though. I'm
When he says
gummy
gummies,
free.
he means a caffeine-infused, all-natural, I'm not going to say
Hypoallergenic,
They're very addictive.
gluten-free, organic, non-addictive.
Non-opiate infused, non-THC, I think, infused.
They are not made with the cocoa plant. I was corrected on that. They are not, even though they may feel like it. They're not. I'm actually going to on the next show. I'm going to put that dude out there on blast and show you guys because I think it's a great product.
Punched.
So,
Boom.
it's called Punched. Look it up. I'm sure there's a punched.com or something that you can look at right now. Really good organic caffeine gummies. They are not made with the cocoa plant. I'm just going to say that. They do not have cocaine in them.
He's lying.
Anywho, man, what's going on today? How's your week doing? Wait, hold on. Before you get into it, Chris Cobb, you look sharp today. What's going on with you?
I got new clothes at Goodwill and cut my own hair.
I fucking love it. It's like I went up the fucking ritzy part of Goodwill.
The ritzy town.
Have you ever been to the Goodwill outlet?
No.
So there's like an outlet for Goodwill. My wife told me about this at like...
Is this the one in Carmel?
No, it's down in,
okay.
I think, Greenwood area, but like you pay by the pound.
What?
And it's like playing a...
I've always paid by the pound, just to throw that out there.
Right.
Oh, boy.
Different kind of Goodwill.
Goodwill
And
hunting.
so they like have a timer and they blow a whistle and you're not allowed to touch product until the whistle blows, and then they bring new carts out and then everybody lines up and then they blow the whistle and then you got like a certain amount of time to go through the carts and get what you want out of it. It's like a game show.
They should.
They should.
They should make a show out of that.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Wow.
So yeah, we are going to talk today about people
Not the Goodwill.
pleasing, not the Goodwill. But before we get into that, something we talked about Elon Musk and him buying Twitter.
Yes, we did. We predicted it before he ever even came out and talked about it. It was on our show. Check it out.
And all of the
And it came true.
educationally challenged trophy getting ninth place winning
It's so nice.
people came out of the woodworks.
You are so politically correct today, and I love it.
So the one that got me, and it's, again, I'm not a mathematician, but I know how to add.
You get 2 + 2.
Somebody said, ending the problem of homelessness is cheaper than buying Twitter.
Oh my God, people are idiots.
So,
My God.
hold on. I entertained this for a second, okay?
Did you?
I did a little bit of research.
All right, let's hear it.
There's
'cause
like
this sounds like about
552 million people in America that are homeless.
Okay.
Okay? If you took the cheapest form of living and averaged it out, it'd be about $550 a month to put a roof. This is just to put a roof
And that's being conservative.
over their head.
That's being conservative.
Right, because most of the homelessness is in major cities where it's a lot more expensive. But again, I'm being nice. I'm doing basic math. I'm not trying to get all complicated. When you do that, and you do the math on that, to put a roof over the head of these people would cost about $3.9 billion a year. Okay? So we can put a roof over people's heads for 10 years. Now what?
Well, that's just putting the roof over their heads, too. That's
Yeah,
not-
they still got to eat. We still got clothing. The cost of living is probably double that. But again, I'm being nice. Then what? And I'm more than willing to bet that all the people that say this kind of crap, if the person next to them were homeless living for free,
They ain't giving up.
they would be complaining about everything else.
Yeah, because that guy...
Why does that person get to live for free? Because you asked for it.
These are the same people that think everyone in America should make the same salary. You know what I mean? And it's just...
These are also the people that are okay with our government giving away hundreds of millions of dollars on the regular to other countries.
Trillions.
Like, we're cool with that, but let's make it Elon's job to solve Homelessness?
Like we have gave away. I forget. It's in the. I believe it's in the trillions, and since COVID actually.
Right.
And we are completely cool. Not trillions within the United States, trillions to other countries.
Right.
And nobody bats an eye to that shit.
No, of course not.
But Elon spends $30 billion. Is it 30?
He spent $44 billion.
$44 billion to buy a crashing social media platform, right?
Yeah.
Completely.
No, again, he's not giving. He didn't buy it just to buy it. It wasn't like a car that he then lit on fire like he's Bam Margera. Or for those of you that don't know who that was, because you're too
I love Bam.
young.
But and I seen a post today. Is like, it was. Me and Chris was just talking about it. It's a fake Elon Twitter account. That said,
awesome.
Where it said, I bought Twitter. Now I'm shutting it down. I'm deleting it. Right, I'm deleting it, and Facebook is next. And go outside. Which it's a great post. I get it, but it's not Elon.
Shoot, I know
that isn't him.
It's amazing. People are very simple in this realm, but again, just it's sad to me that you would take something that somebody has built on their own. In reality, like, yeah, they have a team of people, but it was his genius mind.
Come on, man. Yeah.
And understanding how and where to move with the market to do unthinkable things. And now he's just supposed to end homelessness? Like, you completely bypassed all the hungry children, by the way. I'm just putting that out there. We care more about the homeless person begging you for change than you do about the children that are actually starving for food.
And all the people that are bitching ain't done a damn thing for the homeless.
Right. So if we took our people and had everybody just donate $10 out of their check, since you're all so concerned with it, we could actually do something yearly with this. But everybody already bitches about the tax dollars that we got to spend. So again,
ain't nobody giving up their
completely unrealistic in reality. So do some math before you go jump on social media and act like $44 billion is going to end a world's problem. That wouldn't even end America's problem.
Well, these same people ain't going to give up the old STEMI checks now, are they? Huh? Anywho.
But since we're talking about this, let's dive into some people pleasing, because I've recently had some experiences with this and it breaks my heart.
Uh-oh. I don't know if I feel uncomfortable at the present moment.
Well, it's just, okay, so I stem from the people pleasing.
Okay.
Right? So I was Captain Save-A-Ho when I was younger. Mm-hmm. Sorry, ladies, but that's just what we called it. I was the one that was, I'm gonna rescue you with my love. I can fix you. Mm-hmm. Right? I can solve your problems. I can please you.
Okay.
So I come from a form of it, and then I'm the yes man after that. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. And then I'm losing my mind because I have no time for myself. And then I'm building all these resentments because now I'm keeping score. Because remember those 10 times that I did this for you, and then the one time that I ask, and now I'm mad at the world because nothing's given back to me.
Understand.
So people pleasing doesn't work.
I want to say this though. I think we all are people pleasers to a certain extent.
1,000%.
And I think all of us have, at some point in our lives, we'll go through a phase until we get burnt bad enough. Mm-hmm. And the burning, if we look at it, is from our own doings. Like we do this, and this, and like you said, we're keeping score, or basically what we'll end up doing is saying yes to everything because we want to please people and we want to do for people and we want to do, and then we'll burn ourselves out, and the next thing you know, we have resentments because we had to do these things because we said it, or two, we won't do it, and then the person builds a resentment towards us because we said we were going to do something, and the next thing you know, we're just completely out of our realm, and we're not doing anything that it's that weight that weighs on you.
Well, that's the thing, and then it passes teams, right? So if we're keeping score, now I'm going to go from one relationship, whether it be friendship or romantic, to another one, and I'm not going to do for you because I did so much for this person.
Baggage.
And I didn't get anything from it because I was trying to please this person all the time. And now I don't want to do for you, who might actually deserve it and isn't really asking for much. They're just looking for the basics, right? So, go ahead.
People, like, when you are this type of person, and the only time that I was and don't get me wrong. I'm a bit of a people pleaser now. I like to make people happy. I like to help people out. But there's a thin line between helping and enabling. We've talked about that on several shows. But the thing about that is when you're people pleasing, when you're in that, it's a sickness. It's a malady of some sort. When you're in that mode, you got to really ask. You got to check your motives. Mm-hmm. And this is the hard part that I have trouble with families and families of addicted loved ones and whatnot, right? Because all of us are struggling. All of us have. Studies show that every single person knows at least 7 people who are affected by drugs and alcohol, right? Yeah. But there's other forms of addiction, right? So I feel like we know that number from 7 goes to astronomical, whatever numbers, when we actually talk about addiction.
Yep.
But there is, when you're forced to check your motives, which is generally the only time a lot of us end up checking our motives through, for whatever a situation goes bad, and then we get humbled, and then we're like, okay. Or we get to work with a coach, or we get to work with somebody, or somebody calls us out, some accountability partner, asks why are you doing this? And I think if you really took that moment to check, you're not actually doing it for that person.
No.
And I think that's the sickness in it. We want to help people because it makes us feel good.
Yeah, we're trying to fill an internal hole of some sort, and we're trying to build up our karma bank.
Our karma bank, we're trying to build up our confidence, we're trying to build up our ego, our moral, we're overcompensating for something that we're lacking or we're feeling bad about or shameful about. So therefore we're always, in the form of giving, we're always got our hand out trying to, because we want people to like us, which is a sickness in itself. Yep. We want people to talk good about us and think good about us. And that's really, you get so wrapped up in that. Like you lose yourself, and you lose your self-worth because you're now dependent on somebody else to say good job, pat you on the ass, or say thank you very much. It's changed my whole life. All these different things that we're seeking. So when you're a people pleasing, you're saying yes and you're helping people, you really got to stop for a minute, guys, ladies and gentlemen, and check your motives. Why are you really doing it? Are you doing it because in the Bible it says, don't let your right hand know what your left hand does, right? And that's a form of me. There's a lot of people who are people pleasers, who are helping people, who are over here like showing people, telling people that they're doing this, right? That's even sicker sickness, right? Because I'm doing something for you, but I want to tell everybody that I did it, and I want everybody to see it. I want to video it. I want to, you know what I mean?
Right.
And there's another level to it.
Right. So there's it's gratitude, right? Like you want somebody to be grateful for you so that you have something to be grateful for.
A little worth, yeah.
Right?
Self-worth,
like as long as they thank me, then I know I'm worth something.
Yes.
And that causes this construct inside of us, and it's all built around language, and we'll dive into that later because I was thinking about that also, where the language of things really messes with our world, like we were talking about ego versus confidence. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's like if I were to say, will you help me? Or if I were to say, well, you would give me some advice, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. It just sounds better when I'm asking you for advice versus when I'm asking you for help, because I feel better about what I'm actually asking for at that point, because now I'm being advised. Like, that's why they don't call them financial helpers. They call them financial advisors.
I want a financial helper. Right? Just help me. Give me money.
But this construct of people pleasing, if we're just going to be honest and real about it, it's virtually impossible. You can't please everybody. Everybody's got different expectations. And so there was a situation where somebody wanted to make a decision for themselves and was trying to please everyone around them at the same time. And it became this whirlwind of unfortunate, like, miscommunication and all these things. And I'm just like, first question is, why do you want to do this? Check your motives.
I almost believe in this situation that they didn't know why.
So, no, definitely knew why, and I don't want to, because these people listen, I don't want to speak too much about it. I mean, I'm sure people can figure this out. They're not dumb, but...
Put it in your own...
In the reality of it, my answer back to this whole situation was, you need to do what is best for you, and whoever doesn't support that has their own problems to deal with.
Has their own motives as well, yeah.
Because even if you were to go biblical with this, no one can judge me but God. So if you want to sit there and get mad at me for my decisions, that's a conversation you get to have with your higher power later. And may he be with you, or she be with you, or they be with you. I don't really care.
He, she, or
dolphins be with you. I don't care who your God is.
Wait a minute. Is somebody higher power dolphins?
I'm sure it is.
That's amazing.
There's an ocean out there.
Chris, what's your higher power?
Dolphin.
Chris is see. I knew I could feel the dolphin energy. He was making
Dolphin.
a noise.
You know, there's
in.
there's like 9 or 16. I can't remember the number. Cases of where dolphins people.
Yeah.
Why do you know that?
Because they'll be on TMZ next week. That's what do you think we're talking about next week?
Oh, dolphins.
It's the Me Too movement of the dolphins.
Oh my God, dolphins is.
So,
Look it up, guys. Give me the link right down there at the bottom.
so I think we all understand this. We all understand that people pleasing isn't healthy.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
It's not healthy, and like my wife, and this is like our rule with each other. I will always do what I can when I can, and when I can't, expect to hear me say no.
Here's the problem with people pleasing. It's some people, a lot of people actually. It's a lot of people's love language.
Acts of service?
Acts of service.
Okay, so here's the problem with that.
I see
ready?
many.
Are you ready?
But go ahead.
Here's the main problem with that. When your love language is acts of service, you are speaking to someone that may not receive it that way.
And which I think
Love
is probably
language
more
primarily is supposed to be what comes back to you. So they're wanting the acts of service as their love. That's how they see love. But because that's their love language, they're speaking it to everybody, thinking that's going to fulfill the same thing, and that's not how it works.
good. All right.
Love
I'm with
language
you.
is a language you need to be heard, and you need to be able to understand love languages and speak it back to the person that has their love language. Now, when you both have an acts of service language, the relationship should, in theory, be pretty good because there's no work involved in that. I just do stuff for you because I want to do stuff for you, and nothing feels like it's out of the ordinary or I'm doing too much or you're asking for too much because we both do for each other all the time. That's just a coexistence at that
So
space.
maybe before we get into relationships, we should do the love language test.
I couldn't.
I feel like that's something you
Let
do.
me put
like
it this way. I have asked the love language test be given at the place that I work.
Really?
Yep.
Why?
Because we're not in romantic relationships, but we're still speaking to each other. So if you feel disrespected because you would rather hear me say something to you or pat you on the back or do something for you, that's the only way you are going to receive that we are existing in the space together. So I just need to understand who I'm talking to.
That's progressive. Love it.
So I was like, we need to know what each other's love languages are. So I can understand why you do what you do because that's what you want in return. It makes sense.
Okay. I like it.
So it was
Picasso.
just, you sometimes you speak to somebody and they're just like, they didn't hear anything I said.
Oh, most of the time I talk to
Because
Chris.
words of affirmation mean nothing to them.
Chris.
Quality time is mine.
Quality time.
What are you doing?
In the dungeon.
Oh, Jesus, man. No, like, I'm in a, I feel like you pick these topics. I feel like there's a motive here somewhere. And that's me. I always feel like that. Everybody's out to get me.
Yep. Too many gummies.
Too many gummies. No, man. Like, it's so hard, though. Especially if it's somebody you love and care for tremendously. And to know that your decision and what you want, because you just said you got to make decisions that's best. And this is where people, the lines blur in so many different relationships, whether it be romantic or friendships or in recovery, the lines blur because you have to do what's best for you. We've spent all these years thinking that we were doing what's best for other people and that, regardless of how selfish and self-centered we were, at the end of and we did what we thought was best for us at the time, but it was the most, is the most difficult thing that we could do or the most tragic things that we can do. But like to stand back and you got people in your life or somebody in particular that maybe you're thinking of right now and you're thinking, I have to make a decision that's best for me, but it will ultimately affect said person in a very negative way, and that's a difficult decision to make because, like, even if you're knowledgeable on the subject like I am, that in the long run, it's for the best. In the long run, what you do now is going to, because with decisions I have in my head right now, and I don't really want to come all out with it, but the decision that I make or that I'm forced to make, like, there's going to be inevitable grief regardless. Inevitable means it's going to happen without any way that I do it. So do you prolong it or do you just pull it off like a Band-Aid, and knowledge tells me I pull it off like a Band-Aid, like I'm supposed to, and let that grief happen and get through and move on and all that kind of stuff. But it's just so hard.
Here is where I'm struggling with this particular conversation that I'm hearing, is that you still, I feel, this is just how I'm hearing it, and I could be wrong, you are still assuming that you know the outcome. Inevitable grief means no matter what, that is the actual outcome. In reality, if you're basing that on the knowledge you have of the other person, that is still their decision to make.
The inevitable grief?
Yeah. So if you choose what you grieve and what you don't. And I know for me, the inevitable pain of building muscle, right? Like, that's just the inevitable. It was only as hard as I made it. It was how fast I wanted to get it done or not get it done. Like, it's still up to me on what that looks like, no matter what. And at the end of it, it was the best thing I ever did because I made it that way.
Yeah.
It's the biggest problem that we all have as humans is that we make decisions based on what other people are going to do, think, feel, act, as if we have some control over it. And the bottom line is we actually don't. Now, we affect other people 1,000% because they allow us to. You allow me and my words in this podcast and these things to affect you in a certain way. There are plenty of people out there that will put this podcast on and blow right past it because they're like, you guys are dumb.
Not you guys, though.
Because it doesn't affect
you guys
them.
wouldn't do that.
And I know that this is a super hard thing, and this is why I wanted to dive into this today, is because I understand that this is how we are raised. This is what we are taught. These are all the things that I get in theory because the basis of reality of life is fundamental with coherence of people. But then we are in this vicious cycle of trying to please other people all the time, no matter what, based on I can't do this because this person's going to feel this way. But that's what I want to do. So I feel like either way, someone's screwed. I'm sorry, but I'd rather it be you than me.
Yeah.
So that's just where I live. I live in this space where it's like, I will always, because I just have a genuine good heart for serving people, will do whatever I can. Wife got a flat tire this morning. She called me. I was just pulling into work. The guys at work needed me, but that's my wife. So I walked in the door. I said, can you guys handle this? Because if I need to call my wife, AAA, I'll do that. It'll just take longer. Can you handle it? Yes. Okay, I'm out. And I didn't think twice. I didn't call them and double check on them. You made your decision. I made mine. I'm out the door. I'm going to help my wife. I went, changed a tire, got her situated. Anything else you need? Nope. Okay, I'm back to what I was doing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Cool. I appreciate it, but I'm always going to do what I can when I can, and I'm not doing it for this expectation. There are times when you like hearing thank you because you're actually doing something for someone and you want them to see it and appreciate it, and people should appreciate other people. Like, I think that's a lost thing too. A lot of people do things and don't say thank you. Like, I'll open the door for someone, they'll walk right past me and I'm like, you're welcome.
It's when you grab their arm, pull them back, shut the door, and
right. It's like,
you get the damn door.
Who raised you? There's like a general like appreciation for people, but again, we're stuck in this construct of trying to please everybody, and it doesn't work.
And in the end, like, in the end, you look at stuff and you look at this when you got to make decisions that ultimately is going to be your happiness or your discontent, right? Those are the two decisions, and that's going to affect another person or other people. It's just very tough. It's a tough decision to make. It's a tough mindset to get into, but it's one that's absolutely necessary, because in the end, if you're not happy and you're not doing things that make you happy and that will, because I'm playing the long game these days. I don't, I've lived so many years in instant gratification. I want this, right? So I'm going to get this, when this may not really get me where I want to be, or it may kind of derail me, but it's all about want. It's these feelings of wanting. I want that, I'm going to go get it. I want this, I'm going to go get it. When I've realized from years of grabbing those things that I wanted, that they weren't what they were supposed to be. First off, that I was disappointed. Second off, and it just really, when you get something quickly, it doesn't seem to play out. You know what I mean? I'm playing the long game now, like where I want that, but that's going to derail me from. I'm getting in a one-track mind, right? I'm getting focused. I want to just disappear for a little bit and just kind of focus on me and what I need to do, and education and reading and studying and doing research on things, and really diving into the things that really matter to me. And when I do that, it affects a lot of people. But I need to do that. I have to do that. If I don't do that, I'm not going to be that person that they need 5 years down the road. I might not even be here if I continue on the track of always trying to put all the pieces together and hold the pieces and overlook. And then I have a problem of, sinking my claws into things and not letting people do their own and make their own mistakes, knowing, and I have this knowledge. And again, we go back to this war inside my head. I have this knowledge of people need to make mistakes in order to learn from them, but I could stand over top of them and say, no, that won't work. And then we could avoid the mistake and just move on. But, it's just like with anything else. These things that I feel like we must. Must is a great word to use right here. We must learn. I must learn to take that time to make decisions that will make me happy. And I don't like the word happy. You know what I mean? Because happiness is this fainting thing that just comes and goes as like a wave. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I'm pretty happy all the time.
but to do stuff that make me content with where I'm at, and take joy in the things that I have and the things that I'm accomplishing and the people that I have in my life. I can't enjoy anything if I'm living with this tremendous amount of weight on my shoulder because I need to make a decision that will not affect another person, or I got to worry about what they will think or say or what they'll do if I make this decision. It's a draining mind. It's a draining place to be in.
So they say, don't give up on the things you want forever for the things you want today.
I get that, and that's what we do as in recovery, and that's what we do as addicts. That's what we do in a lot of relationships. We're giving up the long-term game for the short-term gratification. Thank you.
There are so many people that ultimately get married for the wrong reasons. That's the reality of it.
What?
When you base it solely on attraction, I hate to say that, but at 80 years old, homie's not going to look like that, neither is she. You guys are going to be tying your nuts to your tits and seeing who can drag each other around the farthest. Like, let's just be real.
Wait a minute. I'm playing that in my head. Did you see that in your head?
When you sit down on the toilet and you got to reel your balls out.
Throw them over your leg.
And she comes dragging her boobs down the hallway.
So attraction.
You've hit age, right? Like, it's you can't base it on attraction. People base it on money. Well, there's no such thing as... What was it? Somebody said to me one night, and it's like the dumbest word. I don't know why I can't. Like, I need some. I just need to be grounded. I need, what's the word I'm looking for? Come on, help me out, Marty.
Grounded?
Like, I need something consistency, but it's not consistency. I need stability. That's what it said.
Oh, stability.
I need stable.
A lot of people look for stability, in things.
Tell me what stable looks like, because I've seen people crumble. I've seen the economy crumble.
Well,
I've seen.
I think it's a
tell
figment.
me.
I think
what
it's an imagination.
Means.
It's a sense of security, if you will. But yeah, no, I get it. I get what you're saying.
It was many years ago, after my first wife, when somebody was like, I just don't want somebody that's like running their own business and is that just unstable to me. And yet, like 4 years later, her father got laid off from a job from like 30 years and lost his whole entire pension. I was like, well, there goes your stability. Like,
You got to get a new daddy.
the bottom line is there's no such thing. You can't live your life hoping for this non-existent thing.
We can't predict the future, right?
So
That's first and foremost. We cannot predict the future.
in this world of people pleasing and understanding each other and playing the long game, the reality of it is the only person you can make happy is yourself. A byproduct of that will please others. And when you are in a healthy space where you can say no, because there are people that will call me and be like, yo, man, can you do... Nope. And it may be something stupid, but it's just like,
I think a lot of people
not today.
I think a lot of people can say no to the easy, frivolous things like, "Hey, can you help me move this weekend?" Nope. No, and here's the thing we do is like, no, because I got this, and this to do this weekend. When in actuality, you can just say no. I can't. A lot of people can do that very easily, but when it comes to saying no to a little bit difficult things, that's where it gets a little hard.
Well, the thing is we make an unrealistic promise to somebody on some level.
Yeah.
The greatest thing to do is give to someone and expect zero in return. Mm-hmm. I've always been told if you're going to loan money out, it better be money you can give away.
That's how I look at it too.
It better be money you can walk away from.
I'm
or
just like,
don't plan on it.
I don't loan money anymore. I just give it. Like, if you pay it back, then that's awesome. If not, I ain't gonna think about it again.
It's just an unrealistic expectation. So what does that look like in the long term? It looks like trying. And it looks like being okay with things being uncomfortable. Because that's where it gets interesting is you're like, but that's my mom. And I'm like, okay. And? Well, she'll never talk to me again. Well, that's not true.
That's not true.
And if your mom will never talk to you again because you didn't come mow the lawn, you and your mom got a whole different problem.
Yeah. Your mom does anyway.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, people, again, they expect the worst, so they go for the instant because it's measurable. The future is not measurable. Like, I don't know if it'll last 10 years. So I'm basing my decision on what I know today. Well, when it became me and my wife, that was the one time when I actually thought in my head, this is forever. Why? Because it just makes sense. Yeah, we're both attracted to each other, but it wasn't like this out of control. We can't get off of each other. Like, we were just...
It was at first, don't lie.
We just worked. Like, we would hang out and watch movies and just, like, the communication was there and there's both sides to that, right? Because when our good, it's really good. And then the downside of that is because of that, when we fight, it feels like the end of the world.
Yeah.
And we recently went through something like that, and I was like, it's supposed to feel like this. Like, it scares me to ever think about losing you. However, I have to understand in that moment that the reason this exists like this is because it's so good that anything that rocks the boat seems real bad. It's like scratching a beautiful painting. Like, you can take all that and put this little mark in it, and it feels like your whole world's over because you just took this whole thing of beauty and made a defect out of it.
Again, I hate this show. Yeah, but yeah.
The world is what we make it.
Yeah.
And if you want things to look good, then you have to try, and you have to be okay with this uncomfortable space. And I even hate using that word because it's not that uncomfortable. We make it uncomfortable in our heads, right? Like, we have this thought in our head that gets so ingrained that we just know what's going to happen. And it's like, do you?
So
now I'm kind of talking to you.
So I think, to round this up, man, guys, listen, you got to ask yourself, first off, if you get yourself in an uncomfortable situation, which I'm all about being in uncomfortable situations. Like I've said before, I'm incredibly comfortable in a bar at 9 a.m. I'm incredibly comfortable doing nothing. I'm incredibly comfortable not chasing dreams because it's hard, it's difficult, it's challenging. So the anything that's uncomfortable is hard, right? So getting comfortable. If you're in situations that ultimately, affects your life in a very negative way, and it's not producing any, positive results in your life, and you're people pleasing, you're trying to do for others, stop and check your motives and find out exactly why it is you want to help everybody and do these things, even though it's putting you out, or it's making you in comfortable situations that you don't want to be in, or do things that you don't necessarily want to do. Ask yourself why you're doing it, because I think, number one, your motives need to be pure. If you're doing something for somebody, do it in silence. Don't let people know. Don't post about it. Don't talk about it. Don't video it. It's just like, while I think it's just like these videos where people are giving money to homeless and they make videos doing it.
If you want to make it sound cool, then we'll go to like music lyrics where they talk about gangsters move in silence, and it's true.
Yeah.
You want to know some of the worst things that ever happened? You'll never know, because no one ever talked about it, because it was just that's where the big things happen. Is the things that people don't speak about, because most people can't handle the conversation.
Yeah.
So, in moving forward, if you want to understand what this looks like, and like something I've been doing recently, I recommend looking into Wim Hof.
Wim Hof.
So this is a gentleman that does real deep meditative breathing and can duplicate things like, and again, for the people that are struggling with addiction, don't go dive into this because of this, but like DMT and reactions in the brain happens through deep breathing. Like, what is happening in your brain when you do drugs can be done without drugs. So if you want that euphoria and that feeling, you can unlock these chemicals by learning how your brain actually operates inside your own head.
DMT is actually a natural chemical inside the brain. Yeah.
So he has actually done an ice bath and had so much control over his brain that his body temperature didn't change.
That's awesome.
That's insane. That's control.
Yeah.
So take control of your thoughts before anything else, and all these other things will become easier. And we'll dive deeper into what that looks like, because it's not as easy as I make it sound, and I still struggle with it.
Yeah.
But it is worth it.
Check your motives.
Completely freeing when you stop allowing this chaos in your head to run your world.
Yeah.
Stop caring about everybody else. F everybody else.
F everybody.
Which is easier said than done, but we still love you. Check us out next week.
See you guys.